What a treat you're in for my new friend, Austin McMillan with Flywheel Financials. Wow. Such incredible advice for business owners, leading their team well, investing in businesses, advice he has for small business owners. Also, his advice to looking to purchase a business. Wealth of information. So excited for you to hear this conversation with my new friend, Austin. Welcome to Market Mavericks. I'm Matthew Eford. Join me as I speak with leaders who are redefining industries in every corner of the market. From startups to established businesses, we'll uncover the strategies, challenges, and insights that drive success. Get ready to be inspired by the Mavericks who are shaping the future of business. Welcome, everybody, to Market Mavericks. I'm your host, Matthew Eford, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with Austin McMillan, and I'm so excited. A mutual friend of ours connected us. And Austin, for those who may not know you, come on, introduce yourself. Where do we find you in the geographical world today?
Yeah, Matthew, thanks so much, number one, for having me. I'm fired up to be here, but I am in Birmingham, Alabama, represent. So love it here.
Nice.
It's a hidden gem in our opinion. So
Yeah, I love
you
that.
look at it on a map, you're like, why would anybody live there? But fantastic community, a lot of great people here. So we love it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we've got some extended family that lives in Birmingham, and they say almost the exact same thing. Just
Yeah.
it's such a hidden little gem, such a fun place. That's really fun. So, Austin, what do you do for work?
Yeah, so we basically run a outsourced accounting department for small businesses. So we
Wow.
realized early on that a lot of small business owners get into business and they hate P&Ls and balance
Yeah.
sheets.
Oh, yeah. You're preaching to the choir. Yeah.
So yeah, we try to solve that pain point, right? We try to wear the financial hat for these small businesses. So we have a whole team of people doing anything from your bank reconciliations all the way up to like letting you know what to focus on in your business to increase profits. So and everything in between. So we just try to be that wing of their business for them so they can focus on growth, building the team, the things that they originally got into business to go do. We try to provide that need for them.
I love that. And when did you start doing this?
So started technically about 5 years ago,
Okay.
and then bought the business a little over 2 years ago, May of 23.
All right. Congratulations. Yeah.
Business.
Cool.
Right. Yeah. So it's been a whirlwind since, a lot of fun. I'm happy to talk any way you want into that whole world.
So did you come out of school and straight into that business?
No. So
Okay.
I tell a lot of people I have to like dive into the deep end to understand if I like doing something or don't
Yeah,
like.
sure. I got you.
And the Lord kind of showed me a lot of what I like and what I don't like along the way as well. And so, man, I've done, so right out of school, actually, I worked for a landscape company. I was on the finance side of a landscape company,
Okay.
and they were owned by an investment group, and they were going through just acquisition after acquisition after acquisition. I think
Wow.
but there were like 12 acquisitions in the 7.5 years I was there,
Whoa. Okay.
buying other
Yeah.
businesses,
Yeah.
trying
Wow.
to grow the footprint. So I just learned a ton there. It was just a lot of fun just being, a part of the team as they grew. But I knew I wasn't going to be there forever. So left there and then went into the world of trading options in the stock market full time for
Okay.
myself. I told my wife,
Okay.
we were no kids at the time. And so I told her, I was like, listen, give me a year. If I lose everything, I'm not afraid of work. I'll go work at a coffee shop or something, right? Just give me
Sure.
a year. Let's see what we do. So I did it for 2 years and learned a lot about myself and realized that I didn't want to do that the rest of my life either. So that's when I got into the world that we're in now, started helping build a business with a good friend of mine that started what is now Flywheel Financial, and helped him for a few years, and then fell in love with the business model, fell in love with business owners, and asked to buy the business, and we went back and forth and ended up buying the business.
Amazing. Okay. So Flywheel, is
Yep.
that from Jim Collins Good to Great?
Yep.
Where did that? Okay. So for the audience who may not know that, tell us about the Flywheel principle. Tell us about why you named the business that.
Yeah, it's funny. I had to give my brother-in-law some credit. I was sitting there, I think it was Thanksgiving, and we had just, or we were about to buy the business. So I guess it was, yeah, it's towards, maybe it was Christmas because we bought it in May. And I was telling him about what we do, and he was like, he's an engineer by trade, and he was like, man, you should name the company Flywheel. I was like, that's brilliant. Like, so I had to give him credit. He's the one that came up with it.
I love that.
And I had read Jim Collins, Good to Great, and he has a whole book actually dedicated just to the flywheel effect.
Yeah.
But basically, the whole concept for us started with once we can get this machine built inside of your business that is just runs like clockwork to like get you predictable. Here's what you're profiting now. Here we know what your targets are going to look for, and here are the small tweaks and adjustments to make along the way. once you can build the rhythm of finance in your business, then all of a sudden you just get into the rhythm of making those small tweaks. And so once you get that momentum going, which is the whole concept behind the flywheel, right?
Yeah.
Is that like how it works in a machine? And actually, I got ChatGPT to create these
Yeah, I
two.
love those. I see him back there. I love that. For those who are just listening, he's got two diagram images of a flywheel of an engine. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So we try to be that for business owners to say, like, let us do our work consistently so it builds momentum in your business so that you can incrementally increase your profits time and time over time so you can hit these numbers that you want to hit down the road. And it's really just about building that momentum in a business.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you get this incredible groundwork for 7.5 years, seeing acquisitions, seeing high growth, seeing what private equity requires, which is a whole different requirement than a lot of small business owners. The Lord kind of blesses you with that opportunity to have that framework, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
come into the business. Let's take the conversation two ways. Number one, let's take it from the entrepreneur side. You as an entrepreneur, okay. So the last 24 months, what is something that's really surprised you about owning the business yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. So to me, it's the excitement of it. I'm a 7 on the Enneagram for anybody who knows
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Enneagram. So like kind of love the adventure side of life. And so for me, more than anything, it's kind of been this adventure of just like every day presents a new opportunity to go figure out what to do. And so I would say that's been probably the funnest thing. So therefore I've fallen in love with it and worked way more hours
sure,
than you would at a traditional, 40
sure,
hour week job. But it's more so out of just not sometimes it's necessity, but more so it's just like you're just on this adventure of trying to build, right?
yeah,
So that's been the fun part of it. I think the other side of it, and once again, I've fallen in love with the team building aspect and just building the team, finding the right seats on the right bus, going back to Jim Collins. And so
okay,
like I've fallen in love with that, but still at the end of the day, the buck stops with me on decision making stuff.
yeah,
So there's just decisions every single day. I don't know if you heard of decision fatigue, but you
oh yeah,
get in a real way, right? Because you're like, oh shoot, you gotta not only are you trying to make decisions on the best way to set the vision for the company and where we're headed, and you're trying to anticipate the future and what we need to do with our team and kind of sell them on that vision. But then it all comes down to even just like making small tweak decisions all throughout the day just to say, like, okay, are we on the right path, making those decisions along the way with the team. And so we have also taken the working genius exercise with our team to kind
nice,
of let them play into their strengths to play into
okay,
my strengths. And so we have a couple high D's, which is that discernment on
yeah.
that world in our team. So I kind of lean into them a little bit more now that we know this, the qualifications and what the strengths
And
of the
when did you take that test?
that's the
When did
most
you have
recent
that?
one we've done. A friend of mine actually works at Chick-fil-A corporate. We took the whole
Yeah,
team over to Chick-fil-A corporate,
nice.
did a little tour, and then we did the Working Genius assessment there. And so this was probably 3 months ago, maybe. So
Okay,
super fresh,
yeah.
which has been a
So
lot of fun.
so tell me, what is your team makeup? Like what when you talk about your team, is it 10? Is it 100? Is it two? What's kind of your
Oh,
team
yeah, yeah.
makeup?
So there's 5 full-time guys now, and
Okay,
then we have contract bookkeepers that kind of just
nice.
do
Yeah, cool.
clerical reconciliations, that kind of stuff. So really, it's the 5 that we took to
Nice.
Chick-fil-A corporate to kind of understand the team dynamics there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Yep.
we've worked with the Chick-fil-A corporate office for a long time now, and their operators.
Yep.
Love their business model, love the way they serve the community, love the way they serve their staff, their team members. They have a lot of just incredible resources. I love that you did that with your team. What is something of that process that you're now changing? You talked a little bit about, you got a couple of high Ds, you're leaning into them more. Okay, what with your flywheel, what are some
Yep.
tweaks that you're making with your organization based off of that information to be sustained that growth and momentum going forward?
Yeah, that's that. So I got two kind of thoughts behind that. The first one, the in the working genius world, now that we know people's strengths and their weaknesses on both sides, we know how to bring people into this team environment to get their advice on the specific projects or things that we're doing. So,
Nice.
like in the flow of to kind of pull back the curtains a little bit, every client, the second they come on board, they have a whole onboarding process, right? Where we're getting them access to all their systems, everything gets integrated into how we do things from a month to month recurring side of all that kind of stuff. So, I have a temporary season of onboarding. And then they walk into like the monthly accounting that we're doing for them or weekly, daily, all the stuff that we're doing for them. And so inside of these onboardings, we bring the whole team in on certain things that are people that are the high T's that can take it to the finish line, right? So
Yeah.
we just say like, okay, how do we adjust for these guys, for people that are unique or presenting things to something that we haven't seen before in that onboarding phase? We're bringing in the high D's to be like, okay, I have the ideas. I'm a high I person. I have like 10 different ideas of the way we could take this. But then we have two D's on our team that I pull in to be like, okay, here's my ideas. Y'all pick one and let's run, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And so
love
it's
that.
really trying, but what's fun is it just gets everybody involved. And so it just gets buy-in from the whole group of like
Sure.
everybody plays their part to really take the client to the next level.
Yeah.
So that's how we're implementing the working genius tweaks that we weren't doing before because we kind of isolated roles before that. And
Uh,
then go ahead.
no,
I can speak on that in a minute.
yeah, no. So I guess the next question for me is if you could go back to a couple of years ago, Austin, this is advice I love to get, right? Especially you're still so much in the weeds of it. What advice would you give to yourself 2 years ago? Is it go to Chick-fil-A corporate earlier? Did you not know your team well enough to go there? Like what advice would you give to a younger Austin?
That's a great question. I think, man, there's so many ways I could tackle this, but if I go stay in the lane of the working genius, I think it's like understanding people's strengths and weaknesses through these assessments that reveal things that I probably wouldn't have been able to pull out otherwise as
Sure.
early as possible, right?
Okay.
So since then, we've done the Enneagram in every interview that we do.
Nice.
We now do the working genius in every interview that we do. So
Nice.
we're trying to understand the unique ability of this person before we
Sure.
ever even say yes to them or they say yes to us,
Sure.
right? So that's something we've directly implemented in that whole world. So that's and for me, I think the other side piece of advice I would give is hire people earlier on, right? And
Nice.
so like I tell you, one of the greatest things I ever did in my entire life was hire my assistant about a year and a half ago.
Nice.
I wish I would have hired her day one, but just
Yeah.
because like it just the relationship compounds as you just spend more time together because she thinks like I do now because we've been together for a year and a half and we talk basically every day, right? So
Yeah.
there's like
That's awesome.
there's this like relational equity that you get just from a time standpoint that has a massive value that I never saw coming prior to just like thinking about just the role in itself, right?
Okay.
And so I would say like that's probably another thing I would add is just like build the team quickly. Obviously, you have to have the revenue to support it, but sometimes
Sure.
you got to take a leap of faith and just be like, hey, this is the person for our
Yeah.
job, even if the revenue is not quite there to support it.
Yeah.
I just know they're going to help me take this thing to the next level. And so just committing to that process.
I love that. So talk to the business owner that is not quite ready to hire an assistant. They hear you say that. That was a game changer for me, right? Getting that person in, getting them into your culture, getting them in working with your rhythm is phenomenal.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody who's looking at that? Did you hire locally? Did you hire overseas? Did you hire internationally? What did you? How was that process for you?
Yep, that's so good. So really, there's two excuses. I've talked to a lot of people about this ever since because I've had such a great experience with Christy, who's my assistant, and she's just so awesome. But there's two reasons, two kind of excuse. Not, well, I hate to call them excuses, but two kind of roadblocks that I hear all the time. I can't afford it, and I don't even know what I would give them to go do.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the kind of two things I hear pretty common. My response to that is you can't not afford it. So I'll flip it back on them to be like, listen, if you truly audit your time and what you do on a daily basis as a business owner for not just a day, but if you do like a 2 week or a 4 week true time audit of what you're spending your time doing, how much of those things are in your unique ability that adds the most value to your business? And then how much that percentage of that true audit time that you do is like the work that you shouldn't be doing or the errand running or the phone calls that you're having to make or all these different things that are not unique to you, but the buck stops with you because you haven't defined a role somewhere else on the team
Yeah.
for all this utility stuff that happens in a business.
Yeah.
Right. And to give you examples, because people are like, well, I don't even know what that would look like insurance renewals or just like calendar scheduling
Sure.
or like every email that comes in your inbox or you managing your own email.
Yeah.
So like there's like massive things that these people that come to partner with you can immediately start taking off your plate to get you back in your unique ability. So I can't not say that without saying the whole book that opened my eyes to this whole thing is a book called Buy Back Your Time.
Okay.
And it's written by Dan Martell, but the concept of it is basically saying, don't hire to grow your business, hire to buy back your time because
Okay.
it's a calendar over capacity problem. And so he said, you as your business is going to be the person that's still always going to be like leading and like setting the vision and forcing the best way for your business to go. So you have to understand what's your best use of your time as a business owner. And then anything that's not in that best use of your time, get all of that off your plate.
Sure.
And so you're constantly, so what I've committed since reading that book is I do a 2 week time audit every quarter of my life. I'm just going to do it the rest of my life. I don't
Nice.
care if I'm 90 years old, I'm going to
Yeah,
be
cool.
about a 2 week time audit, because for me, it's got to say like, I'm highlighting green, the things that I love and give me energy and that return a good investment on my time.
Okay.
I'm highlighting red, the things that absolutely drain me or shouldn't be on my plate to go do. And this is both personal and business. This is the beauty of it.
Sure.
It's both of those things. And so once you get all the highlighted red things, then you now have a job description of now who you can go hire for, right? And if you commit to doing that, and it's once again, that's a whole flywheel effect in itself too, right? But if you commit to doing that, then you can find people that really help you build a team. They enjoy the things that are red on your plate that might be green on their plate. And it's just a beautiful process to continue to do.
I love that. It is. It's so amazing the way that God has designed people, right? That
Yeah,
they have different skill sets. They have different things. That in my mentality, it's like that would be such a boring, mundane thing. But on somebody's plate, that's a green, and they're putting stars by that. That's what they love to do.
that's
And
exactly right.
I've got a mentor of mine on my board that has strongly challenged me that once a quarter I have to give up something else.
That's
I have to
awesome.
continue to delegate things, and it
Yeah,
challenges me as a leader. And it's that idea of, okay, I'm going to find the things that are green, that fill my cup, that I'm investing the time, energy, effort where I want to, and also where I need to.
yeah, absolutely.
And then from there, I'm going to continue to hand off things, hand off things, hand off things. And so, talk to us, Austin. We get a lot of this idea of delegating, but so often, at least for me, at least I can speak for myself. When I was coming up as a business owner, I did a lot of dumping, not delegating. Right. So
Yeah.
give me some advice on what you would see within your organization. A business owners out there is listening to this saying, "Hey, yeah, I need to delegate better, but I don't really know how. What's kind of the next step?"
Yeah. The time audit, like we just mentioned, is 100% the first step in my opinion, because you got to know what to delegate to then understand how to like push that aside to somebody. But then on the to find the person of who you're delegating to is critically important, right? And so like for us, we're hiring based off of those things that are red as we're doing those things, right? So we're finding, do these people love that? And so the hiring process for us is like so critical. So not only are we doing like Enneagram or all the different personality tests in the hire process, we're also giving them a test project to do exactly what they would do if they
Nice.
were the first 90 days on the job.
Yeah, cool.
And then we pay them for that, and then we see how they do. And so we have multiple candidates do that before we hire that final position. And so multiple candidates do it, and we see how they would actually work without truly working for us. We see how they would work, right? So it gives us a true idea. Are they good at it? Do they enjoy it? Like
Sure.
we're learning their personality along the way. So that's critical. And then every quarter, one thing I just have to do along with the time audit is I meet one-on-one with every single person on our team, and I get them to answer these preset questions every quarter. And some questions on there are, what are you doing right now with Flywheel that you want to continue to do because you love it? What are you doing right now with Flywheel that you hate doing and you don't want to do it anymore? And they have to answer honestly, right? So I get, every quarter, so 4 times a year, I see exactly how everybody on the team
Sure.
fills information out. So when I'm thinking about delegating, why in the world would I give something to
Yeah,
somebody if I know they're going to hate it,
it's an
right?
excellent point.
So
Yeah.
you got to find that person that is, like you said, that is their unique ability created by the Lord is, I love doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I, in fact, hate it. So now it's a perfect match.
Yeah.
And so that to me is something that I have to stay adamant about every quarter is just digging in. We call it personal goal check-in. So we go through all
Okay.
kinds of stuff outside of Flywheel
Sure.
and set up each person on the role or person on the team. And that's some of those questions I'm just learning and understanding. How can I get them and their unique ability so they enjoy coming to work every day,
Yeah.
right? And what are things that they don't need to be doing that I need to think about, I need to be possibly hiring for to then fill things off their plate, to delegate off their plate to find somebody that's unique ability in that world as well. So it's a
I
lot of
love
fun.
that. No, I love that. You're preaching to the choir for sure, and I appreciate the way that you handle that question. Is you've got a targeted approach, right? That if you fail to plan, you plan to fail,
That's
and
right.
it's this mentality of I'm going to be strategic in the way that I meet with my team. I'm going to have a structured meeting. I'm going to have some structured questions. Yeah,
Yep.
we're shoot the breeze at the beginning. Yeah, we're going to talk about whatever. I'm going to have some personal questions in there, as it sounds like you do, which I think is a great
Yeah.
way to get to know your team better.
Yeah.
But also, I want to know, like, how's work going?
Yeah.
Like, what do you love about this role?
Yep.
And what do you hate about this role? Because if I can maximize the things you love and minimize the things you hate, you will stay here longer.
Yeah,
Which the
absolutely.
thing that doesn't show up on your P&L is turnover.
That's
It
exactly right.
doesn't. It folds into other things, obviously, but there's no definitive line item that says every time an employee leaves, I lose X amount. And as
That's right.
owners, man, do we miss that? We
Oh,
just miss the value that our team provides and the longevity that they provide.
yeah, that is so true, man. That's a great way to put it. That turnover price definitely gets baked into just the overall labor or whatever, however you
Yeah,
track that stuff. And it is such a massive cost. And it's not even on a financial basis, and it definitely is financially. But the time suck on everybody else to retrain
yeah,
somebody on whatever the new role is. I mean, it is like, and everybody, I guess, understands that a little bit. I hope they understand that.
sure.
And so to me, like, I just love that concept of being able to like go in deep with these team members. So like to a couple other questions on that survey that they're filling out every quarter
Sure.
is like,
Yeah.
what are them and their spouse dreaming about in their life? Like, what are
Yeah,
their
cool.
3 or 5 year goals outside
Yeah,
of
cool.
work, right? Because what's fun for me as a business owner is I get to say like, okay, now I know what personally their targets are, what they're trying to accomplish. How can we help them as a business get there faster, right? It's like if somebody's buying a house, could we help them with a down payment that's like an interest-free loan to them because they work on our team or whatever it is, right? So it's
Sure.
like you get all these opportunities as a business owner, and if you don't ask, you don't know those things.
Yeah.
So it's so much fun for me to ask and see what these guys are dreaming about. And then one last comment that I love so much on the personal goal stuff is the beauty of everybody filling out those those questions that we ask them is that helps them dictate their next quarter's goal that's for them personally.
Nice.
So inside of our company, every single person has one target for the quarter that they're having to go try to achieve or accomplish.
Okay.
So a lot of this came from a book called The 12-Week Year, but it's like doing things in a 90-day rhythm
Yeah.
of like how to focus. And so everybody on our team sets a quarterly target, and then we set weekly targets that align with that quarterly
Yeah,
target.
cool.
And every day they have one thing that they need to do to make today a masterpiece. And so it all helps them line up. And all of that's dictated by each person on our team to help them get more in their unique ability inside of the company. So anyway, I could talk for hours on that, but it's fun for me to do.
No, I love that. And what's amazing is as an owner, right, you have the opportunity to see the bigger picture. And you
Yeah.
have the opportunity to help your team members see the bigger picture. That
Yeah.
you're investing in their growth and their opportunity. And I'll tell you what we have found within our organization. We have launched a lot of people out of our organization and they've gone on to do incredible things. And it was so hard to see them go.
Yep.
But I saw a quote years and years ago that really stuck to me, and it was just a meme or whatever, and it was a CFO and a CEO talking, and the CFO says we can't afford to invest in people and them leave, and the CEO said we can't afford to not and them stay, and it's this idea of like, okay, we've got to go more open handed to our staff and say.
Yep.
What I tell everybody that this comes on with us, you'll work with us for a season. That season, my goal as the owner is to elongate that season.
Yeah.
That season may be when you retire, but eventually you will leave this organization. You just
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
When you're here, I want you to be better. So we do things similar. We do team. We invest in the team, and we do team building, and we do personal growth, and it's this idea of because you work here. I want you to be better. We mentioned it earlier, Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah.
When we review resumes for some of our entry level positions specifically,
Yeah.
man, if they got Chick-fil-A on that resume and they were there for any length of time, they're getting put to the top of the stack because
Yeah.
they know customer service, they know how to work on a team, they know how to take direction, they know how to lead. That's there. Okay, so I want our organization to be in line with that. I want it to be something that they have marketable, tangible skills that they come out of this organization and then they go on and they continue their career and they have an incredible career. And some of them, I hope they stay a very long time with us, right? I
Yeah,
hope that
absolutely.
that season is super long. Okay. So let's take a little bit of a pivot, Austin. Let's go back
Yeah.
to initially I said, I want to talk to you as an entrepreneur. Okay. Now I want to talk to you as the worker of what you do, the
Yeah.
consultant. You get to work with so many small businesses that feel like they have unique struggles, but rarely are they super unique. Talk to us about what do you typically see when you come in with an organization. Maybe it surprises you, maybe it frustrates you, maybe it's like, well, here it is again. What are those kind of things that business owners need to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, that's a great question, Matthew. I think so for us, it's all in the lens of finance, right? Because that's what we specialize in. So we go in, and it's just so common in the small business world that finances get pushed to the wayside when you're trying to grow a business, especially
Yeah,
early on, right? So
yeah,
you're like, I got to get customers somehow. So I'm focused on customers to actually bring in revenue somehow. And then I got to build a team to like provide whatever I just sold. And so, like, the finances is a lot of times people just gunslinging from whatever they see in their bank account, right?
yeah.
And the way I try to describe that to a lot of these business owners, it's like two football teams playing on a football field with zero scoreboard out there. Like you have no clue who's winning, who's losing, how much time's left in the game.
It's
Like
an
there's just
incredible analogy.
right.
Yeah,
It's like because you when you fly with just gunslinging out of a bank account, you have no clue what to improve. You don't know if you're like making money or losing money. Like you don't know which parts of your business is more profitable than the other parts of your business. So you're just saying yes and no based off these gut instincts, which there's no data to back that up, right? So you just need this scoreboard so the team knows, shoot, it's fourth down and we got one more play to try to win this game.
yeah,
That's like you have to know those things. And the beauty of this is that what we try to do for owners, going back to that football analogy, is that a P&L and balance sheet can be so overwhelming sometimes, right? There could
sure.
be 100 line items on a P&L. And so a business owner, especially that's not financially minded, might come in and be like, okay, you're giving me this report. I don't even know what to look at, where to start. None of this means it's Chinese, right? It doesn't mean
Sure.
anything. So what our job is to do is to create take the P&L on the balance sheet that we're producing for these guys every time and reduce that down into the critical things that are on the scoreboard on the football field.
Nice.
When you're a football team and you're the quarterback or whatever, you can look up and say, how much time's left in the game? What quarter is it? And what down is it?
Yeah.
Right. Those are the three things that kind of matter, right, in football. And so we try to say, like, what are the three things that matter to you and a business owner to make your business a winnable game financially, right? Because if you're running a business and you're not profitable, it's sad to say you're not a business, right?
Yeah.
You're just sitting there, right? Just you might as well have a W-2 because it's way less risky and you know, like, you
Yeah.
don't have to work
It's
as
a
much.
lot easier. It's 40 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so for us, we try to help them, or really anybody, create a winnable game. And we show them how to do that by reducing what could be complex down into a few focuses. And I'm happy to talk into that if you want me to kind of get in the weeds of that. But
Yeah,
really,
sure. Just give
yeah,
us an example. Don't give us any kind of proprietary information, but
yeah,
just
yeah.
help us understand practically. Maybe give us an example of how you helped a business owner get clarity and some changes they made in their business.
Yeah. So a perfect example is, well, let me give you two examples. We had one client come to us and they were located in Texas. They were doing about 900,000 in revenue and they were like around 20% profit, which they were doing decent, right? So
Nice.
like
Yeah.
they're doing pretty decent. But they knew they wanted to grow, but they didn't know exactly kind of the directions and levers to pull to go grow. And so they came to us and really over a 3-year period. So this was basically right before we purchased Flywheel and then
Okay.
continue on through today. We basically, by working with them month over month, showing them what to focus on, showing them kind of like what their finances of their true business looks like. They went from 900,000 to 5.1 million in 3 years,
It's
right? So they went
amazing.
on a massive
Yeah,
run
it's amazing.
and they're just go-getters, right? But they wanted to know what to focus on to go do that while keeping like they increased their profit margins along the way to get there. I think they were doing 25% at the 5.1 million, right?
It's
So it's like,
amazing.
so, but without that, you just like, once again, you're just gunslinging if you're not knowing consistently what to focus on and make the tweaks.
Sure.
Oh, and once again, that didn't happen overnight. That was
Sure.
a 3-year period of being consistent of what to focus on. So that's probably one example of just us reducing it down from a company standpoint. And I would say a lot of the metrics that we work on, we actually specialize in the service-based industry.
Okay.
And so one of the key levers you can always pull is your labor efficiency ratio. So we really, and that doesn't show up on a P&L, right? When you're
Yeah.
just looking at a P&L, you don't know how to quickly get that information of what's going to work for your industry. And so we help owners say, like, okay, you know you're going to have to pay payroll to go provide whatever you're selling as a service. So we need to say, like, however much money you're spending on payroll every 2 weeks, we give you a metric to know this is how much revenue you should be bringing in off of that payroll for you to know that you're going to hit these profit numbers at the
Yeah.
bottom, right? So it's just an easy, once again, you look at that, and once people start understanding it, then they're like, oh, okay, well, I know if I'm spending $50,000 a year or every 2 weeks on payroll, I know what I need to be making from a revenue standpoint to make sure I hit that 20% or
Sure.
25 or whatever
Yeah.
it is at
Sure.
the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Uh,
kind of what we try to condense it down to help people out do.
I love that. And it's just an incredible resource, right? That you as a business owner, business leader, you're getting to make more informed decisions.
Yeah.
That you have a clear view of what everything looks like, and you get to make a better decision based off of that. Instead
Yeah.
of just, like you said, gunslinging, shooting from the
Yeah.
hip. I hope this works. That's fantastic. Okay, so let's take a little bit of another pivot. I want to get back to the purchase of the business.
Yep.
Anything that you feel comfortable talking about. I know that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are out there that may fall into the entrepreneur stage right now, right? They're in corporate America. We've got a bunch of those that listen to this, and they want to take the leap into business ownership, but they haven't done that yet. Talk to us through, as much as you feel comfortable with, some of the scenario there of the purchase, and then what advice you would have back to yourself prior to the purchase.
Yeah, I love this. I love this because I got to see it on the landscape side and then obviously walk through it myself,
Sure.
2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. So number one, I would say anybody that is in corporate America or whatever right now and has the itch to go do something right now in the season of the world that we're in, it's a very unique ability that business purchasing is a common thing. And the reason is because we have a whole generation of baby boomers that have built a business over the past 40, 50 years that are now exiting the workforce. Either they're passing away or they're retiring or whatever that looks like. So there's a ton of small businesses out in America that are either going to be potentially for sale, the doors are going to be closed down just because those baby boomers don't have somebody else to hand the keys to, right?
Sure.
So the opportunity is 100% there. And that's typically what I've read just statistically over the next 8 to 10 years, it's going to be ripe for the picking for people that do want to purchase a business. So what I will say is you're in a unique opportunity now to go do that. And then the second thing is it doesn't have to be any more complicated than you planning and thinking about buying a house. And I know that sounds crazy, but you got a down payment and you can get a mortgage for the business to come finance the business through an SBA loan or whatever that looks like for you. And then you can almost treat it like the investment it is of buying a business, but then you obviously have to have the faith and the courage to say, now I got to go figure out how to run the business and make it
Sure.
happen. Right?
Yeah.
But from a financing, I think what scares a lot of people is like, I can't afford to buy a business. There's no way. And it's a lot more affordable than you think when you have the ability to finance the business, right? And so that would be the second thing, that like get over that hump of the financing side and just go into the opportunity of like buying it. And so for me, I think the advice, let's see. Well, here's a couple of things that I've learned over, at least in my ability when we bought our business, is that if I'm incurring debt to buy the business, which I did, right, to buy this business back in 2023, because I'm a numbers guy, I love analyzing kind of like cash flow and what I thought I could do with the business, taking it day one and where it was headed.
Sure.
And even with the potential turnover or people leaving because things are going to happen when you buy the business and people don't like change that are existing customers and all that stuff. I don't like carrying debt longer than 3 years on a
Okay.
business purchase.
Okay.
That was mainly for me and the industry that I was in. This changes drastically based on the industry. Most of what I purchased was goodwill. I was buying relationships
Yeah.
that we were
Sure.
doing no contracts for and doing accounting for, right? So they could leave the day that I bought them, they could all leave, right? So it was more of a risk. So therefore, my multiple of EBITDA, or my multiple for that determined the purchase price, was probably cheaper than maybe like a car wash, because a car wash, it's in the ground, it's real estate and all the things that have a higher value. And so like for me, it was a cheaper purchase price and I didn't want to carry the debt that long because I knew, I'm like, well, if I'm paying for somebody that left 8 years ago, why am I still paying them off, kind of thing,
Sure.
right? So it was a lot more conservative on my end, but I think you just have to be confident confident in betting on yourself, taking the risk, and then being smart about how you work the purchase price and the financing of it to know that worst case scenario, you're still going to be fine. You're not going to be kicking your family out of the house to go live on the streets
Yeah,
if something goes south. But
sure.
man, at the end of the day, I love leaning way more kind of risky in that world because like the business is not going to go under tomorrow because you bought it, right? Things are going to happen, but you can pivot and ebb and flow in the moment that those things happen to get back on your feet, keep grinding, and continue to grow the business. So anyway, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. What incredible info for our audience, and a challenge and encouragement of things are going to happen. It's not going to be smooth sailing, and there's going to be things that, as you shared, there's going to be things that you get into and you're like, this is not at all what I thought it would be. Some of that's good, some of that's bad. You roll with it, you continue to improve. Okay, let's also, we're coming up to the end of our time. Man, I appreciate so much you sharing and being open. Two kind of questions to close on. Number one, talk to us about this idea of leveraging mentorship, networking as a business owner as you're looking to grow and scale. How has you applied that? What's kind of advice would you have around the idea of mentorship and networking for you, the business owner?
So good. So it's absolutely needed because as the business owner in your own business, decisions and the buck stops with you. So you have to be in rooms where people are dreaming and doing bigger things than you are. So there's two concepts in my opinion. Like I'm in a coaching program right now where I'm inside weekly for somebody that's done something like I'll never even dream that I could possibly do that in my own lifetime. He's done it. And so I'm learning from wisdom. I'm borrowing confidence from this guy of
Yeah,
just like the way that he operates, the standards that he lives by, like all of these things. It's way more than just the business ownership. It's becoming the person that you need to become to lead the business,
yeah.
right? So like
Amen.
having that is like so critical. So borrowing the confidence is something I didn't even think was something that was on the radar that I've recently learned from people that are ahead of me. And so there's two sides of it. You have somebody like that in your life or multiple people like that. But then also be consistent with people in your own community that are also doing things that are more than what you're doing, right? Whatever that looks like for you, right? And their commonality of where they're trying to get to now becomes more of a normal for you to be like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Let's
Sure.
just go do it. And so it gives you once again more courage rather than being kind of the top of the spear in your own little silo of business. You need to hear from other people that are doing bigger things. So it gives you courage to go do bigger things.
I love that. Yeah, we he who walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. Proverbs
Yeah.
13:20. We've said that a bunch of times on this podcast, and we'll continue to say it because it's true. That
Yeah.
there's so much value we find within community, with people that are further down the road than we are. And
Yep.
the most dangerous place to be as a business owner is to think that you have it all together and you're the smartest person in the room.
Yep.
You're primed for issues within your organization. All right, so Austin, thank you for sharing that. Last
Yep.
question: avid reader, you've mentioned several books. Our audience loves to kind of get feedback from guests. What's a recent book in the last 12 months that you've read that's really impacted you as a business owner?
I have to go back to Buy Back Your Time. It is like I'm studying it right now. And
Cool.
so it's the first book that I've read 3 times now, but then I've actually studied chapter by chapter to directly implement into my business. So
Nice.
in my opinion, it's an absolute must read for any business owner. Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. But we've talked a lot about that already. If I give you another book, the other book I would give is Who Not How. And
Yeah.
it's a
Oh
similar
yeah.
concept, right? But it's just finding that who to delegate to every quarter, like you said. It's just getting into this mindset of like when you bring people into your world, all of a sudden, not just like bigger things are achieved, accountabilities all of a sudden at a new level, like creativity is at a new level. It's just a beautiful thing. So, Who Not How is another must read in my opinion for every business owner.
I love it. Those are two fantastic books, fantastic offerings. Thank you, Austin, for sharing that. Okay, so
Yep.
somebody's been listening to this, and they're a small business owner, and they say, I need help. I need Flywheel. I need to get in touch with Austin and his team. Please don't give our cell phone number. But how does somebody get in touch with you? How do they follow along? How do they get integrated in with Flywheel? What's the next steps for them?
Yeah, I love it. So I am new to social media as of 2025.
Okay.
I've held on as long as I could, but I knew is what I needed to do this year. So I'm on Instagram and I'm literally there just to provide financial value to small business owners, regardless if anybody ever works with us or not. That's the best place to find me. So it's Austin D. McMillan on Instagram is the handle.
Love it.
So just go find me on Instagram. And in fact, anybody that's listening, if I've created just a free gift I want to send to people. And if you just are like, where do I even start to start prioritizing profit, getting my business more organized? We've set up a whole guide of how to set up your bank accounts to force profit, right?
Perfect.
So you prioritize it, profit, have a tax account, all these things. I have a whole guide of how to set that up. So if you find me on Instagram and direct message me the word profit, I'll send that gift over to you, and at least it'll get you started. So here's what you got to do to call the bank tomorrow to get all stuff set up.
I love it.
So just
I
want to help
love it,
people
man.
out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I will make sure all that's in the show notes. Thank you, Austin, for joining us. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom. Thank you for the way that you're helping impact businesses around the country. I truly believe business can change the world. Good business can. And thank you for the way that you're investing in it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on Market Mavericks. We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Market Mavericks. We hope you're walking away inspired and ready to take your own adventure to the next level. Don't forget to follow the show to keep up with our latest episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to subscribe, share it with others who could benefit. And hey, if you know a market maverick who has a story that needs to be heard, please drop their name in the comments. We would love to bring their insights to the show. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and leading with purpose.